Well, I think people have talked about the price, obviously. The price was much greater at the pump and in energy than people expected. Even Governor Inslee has said that the Department of Ecology got the projections wrong, and the Department of Ecology's own estimates say that it could be up to about 80 cents a gallon by the year 2030. But as somebody who's worked on environmental policy for about 25 years, when I was at the Department of Natural Resources, did things like pushed for a ban on old growth harvesting, was on the Puget Sound Salmon Recovery Council. One of the most frustrating things to me is that this is really a special interest and political bill masquerading as an environmental bill, because there's far more money that goes to special interests and to political agendas than there is for the environment. Let's give you one quick example. There's about $12 million, which is just 0.5% of the total spending for fighting wildfire, for reducing wildfire. There's twice that much just for planning high-speed rail. Not building high-speed rail, just planning. And there's 4 times that much just in grants for more Growth Management Act planning. There's far more for bureaucracy, for special interests. And what's unfortunate is that while this says it's an environmental program, the environmental programs and the funding is very low, and what goes for politics and government and things like that is what most of the money is. And that, I think, is the frustration, because a lot of people care about helping the environment, reducing CO2 emissions. This really doesn't do that. We need to do a much better job. The CCA doesn't do it.
Representative Fitzgibbon, what are, from your perspective, the strongest arguments for keeping the environmental regulations and emissions control system that was set up by the CCA and rejecting 2117?
Yeah, I think the fundamental question, Mike, with 2117 is, do we want Washington to have a cap on our greenhouse gas emissions and lower that cap over time? Do we want the 100 largest polluters in Washington state to be able to pollute for free like they were before the CCA, or do we want them to have to pay the state of Washington for the impacts that pollution causes, whether that's through wildfires or more extreme weather events or air quality problems or just the overall impact of global climate change? I think that defeating Initiative 2117 would show that we expect those 100 largest emitters in our state to reduce their emissions over time, and that we want to continue making investments in things like new ferries and salmon recovery projects and wildfire prevention and incentives for lower polluting trucks and electric school buses. There's a lot of things that make life better for Washingtonians, that make air quality better for Washingtonians, that make habitat better for salmon and orcas and all the species that we care about as a state, that we just wouldn't have those resources if we don't ask those 100 largest polluters to pay for the impacts of their pollution anymore.
You can watch the rest of the interview by clicking the link below, and check out the Impact Archive for more in-depth interviews you won't find anywhere else.